We are surrounded by content. Content shapes who we follow, how we lead, what we buy, and even what we believe. Welcome to the Content Generation Podcast, a Class Intercom production where we focus on the stories that come to life in schools all over the world. We highlight the students, educators, and communities who share the content that shapes our future. Jill Johnson, welcome to the Content Generation Podcast. We are revamping this podcast, and I am super excited to be with you introducing episode 1. Once again, Jill, we've had a lot of conversations about the content generation, and you've been in schools both as an educator, as an administrator, and now working with schools all around the world. What does the content generation mean to you?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, it's so exciting to have this launching off the ground and being able to share these great stories. But the content generation to me means so much. I think as students and adults, we are such consumers of content. And it's so important for us to be able to tell our own stories. And so I love that we have a platform that we can share those. I'm obviously a huge proponent of educators, and I want those stories to be out there. And so what the educators are doing with their students. So when I think of the content generation, it's not just young people, it's not just their teachers, but it's all those stakeholders in the community really helping to tell those stories and piece those stories together, which give us that content that really drives truly our country and the world, because education is the foundation of that.
Well, I'm really excited about it because, coming from a corporate side and being introduced to education and educators like yourself, I started to learn that there's a gap between understanding in the corporate world. Not everybody understands that content is really the thing that we react to, right? It's written word, it's video, it's podcast, it's all of those things that move the needle there, and being able to bring some people from different walks of life that are using content in their daily jobs and introducing them to the educators, the school districts, the school communicators that we work with, to be able to let them see some of what's happening on the other side too. I think is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, it's so easy to get siloed into our own personal experiences as well as
Absolutely.
where we are today. So we tend to all think we're experts in education
Yeah.
because we went to school for a long time. Most of us probably 13 years, if not more. And so we tend to think that's the experience of all people, and it's just not. And so then when we start a job or we start a family or whatever it is that we're doing, we tend to live in that world. And so by sharing our content and sharing our different stories, it really allows us to experience the very diverse and vibrant world that we live in. And I think by knowing others is how we tend to understand others and then grow personally as well.
Also want to talk a little bit, and you hinted at it, about how our purpose at Class Intercom really aligns with helping bring people into the content generation. How do you feel about our mission and the way it aligns with bringing that along?
Well, it's so fun because being an educator for 30 years and then stepping into this role, I was worried about that. Like, how am I going to be able to help people? How, because that's what drives me every day. And it still does. I get up every morning and I'm excited to come and help people, because that's one of the things we do at Class Intercom and with our mission is really to help people share those stories in a safe and secure way, but really provide that voice for all the people that make up a school. So that might be a student, it might be a teacher, it might be a lunchroom worker or a bus driver. And so I think it's so exciting just to be able to facilitate that storytelling in a really safe way.
Well, I'm really excited about what has turned into a movement in the content generation, seeing students really come alive in the way that they create content. The professionals who have been educated in school communications, being able to really work with them to raise the next generation and that next generation of content creators. Jill, what are you looking forward to most in this season of the content generation?
Well, I'm just excited to be able to learn from others. I think, there's a long list of people that we are excited to have as guests on the podcast. And I think just being able to learn from their experiences, their expertise, and grow together in sharing those stories. That's what excites me the most about this.
Well, we've got a great lineup this season. We've got a lot of great friends who've reached out and are starting to see that we're putting this together. So I'm really excited to see how it comes together. And some of the conversations I've had already are just rich. And I'm really excited to see the conversations that come out of them.
Yeah, can't wait.